Hey everybody, this is Brandon with Chosen Outdoors, and today we're going to be talking in and sighting in the Christensen Mesa FFT with a burnt bronze barrel. Stay tuned.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So right now what we're doing, we bore sighted the gun at the shop, and we should be pretty close, but we're starting at 50 yards. And right now what I'm doing is just getting kind of set up. So the Christensen Evoke that we reviewed kind of spoiled me on how easily a gun can set up at the range. These hunting style stocks are a little bit more difficult to set up off of beanbags, in my opinion. But it's not, this is what I'm used to. It's just I didn't bring my little tool that I normally use. Anyway, we'll get it. All's well that ends well. What number is that? 10? All right, who's ready?
Hey. This is gonna be loud.
Okay, so we've shot this gun before, and the bullets that we were using, it didn't like. So this gun should be shooting MOA, minute of angle, which is a 1-inch grouping at 100 yards. And with the bullets that we like to shoot out of a 308, it was at best about a 2.5-inch grouping. So today we're trying some different ammunition. We have some Hornady Black with 168 grain AMAX bullet, and we also have some Hornady ELDMs, which are another match grade bullet, but it's a 168 grain as well. We're kind of running these through to see what it likes, what it doesn't like, and off of getting it on paper and kind of getting it ready to go to 100 yards with the Hornady Black, it had about a 1-inch grouping at 50 yards, so which isn't astronomical, but as we move out to 100 yards, we'll get it toned in, and then we'll really take a look at it. I also have some other trash ammo that are like 150 grain bullets, and we're gonna just kind of see what it does with that once we get it sighted in, which I understand they're lighter than the 168, so they're gonna fly different. I get it, but it should still group. We're just trying to figure out what this gun likes so the customer can utilize the bullet that he wants. The grain weight that he wants to use is a 168, so that's why we have these two boxes to kind of try these out. Now, I understand some people are going to say, oh, but that's a match grade bullet. You shouldn't hunt with that. See that right there? I've killed a lot of animals with this bullet in particular. The Hornady Black is a match grade bullet, but it has really good terminal results as well. The ELDMs have really good terminal results as well. Just because they're a match grade bullet doesn't mean that you can't hunt with them. Now the Hornady Precision Hunter with the ELDX is their hunting cartridge, but the ELDM and ELDX are very similar, and they work really good on thin-skinned game. Now, if you wanted to go hunt an elk, I mean, I wouldn't suggest taking match grade bullets. You're going to need something that really holds together, retains its weight, mushrooms effectively. But for the purposes of what we're doing here, sight in, and what this customer will be doing, these are going to be fun. So stay tuned. We're going to move out to 100 and get tested. Roll on one. Now we're set up, boys. All right, who's ready to do the gritty?
Wasn't recording. Now go.
So at 100, we're a few inches high and a few inches right, but that's fine. What we're going to do is shoot a few more through and just test the grouping on this particular ammunition. And then we're going to switch to the Hornady match and see where that groups. See which one's a little bit tighter on the grouping, and then we'll kind of take that ammo and adjust it to where it's centered and sighted in for the firearm itself. We'll do one more, and then we'll let the barrel cool off before we switch bullets. It's about an inch and a half group on those three, which some of that could be me, but okay. So we were shooting the Hornady blacks, and now we're going to switch over to, if my son would stop messing with stuff and put them in like the rest of them. Hurry up, I need the box. Thank you, sir. So now we're going to switch over to the Hornady match. These are a 168 ELDM, and what's the ballistic coefficient here? So our G1 BC on this is a 523. Our G1 BC on the other ones is not listed, but I'm pretty sure it's probably in the same realm. High 0.5s or mid 0.5s. So they should shoot pretty similar, but we didn't make any adjustments for windage or for elevation. And what we're going to do is we're going to shoot this one as well and just see if it groups a little bit tighter or how it groups or if it's shooting very similar to those. I think this gun likes a 168 grain bullet because I know for a fact it does not like a 180 or up. So let's throw a couple downrange and see what it does. What's your 2700, 2700? They're very similar, but the Hornady black is shooting almost on the plane of the bullseye, but off to the right a little bit. The ELDMs are shooting exact same windage, but they're shooting about 3 inches higher. So it's almost like they're coming out of the gun a little bit faster. So it's not dropping quite as much at 100 yards. That's interesting, but it's throwing these a little bit higher than the other ones. But those two shots are almost touching. So we'll do a third shot and see where if it lands sub-MOA here with this third one, which almost every one of the guns I've shot so far, my third shot's normally slightly a flyer, so we'll see. So it likes these bullets. We're shooting about an MOA, which is an inch at 100 yards with these. Now like I said, it's just shooting. They're almost. If I had a target in front of me, I'd show you. But so like, here's your bullseye. The blacks are hitting like right here, and the ELDMs, the match bullets, are shooting right up here, almost on the same plane. Just they're shooting higher, but they're grouped well. Both of them have grouped pretty well, but these have grouped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust to bring that to bullseye. half-inch off, but that was totally me, 100%. But I think it likes the 168 grains. That's for sure, no doubt. It likes the 168 grains. Okay, so some of the things. Let's just kind of talk about the gun for a minute, because we've done some shooting and we've talked about ballistics and so on and so forth, but we haven't really talked about the gun. This gun is the Christensen Evoke FFT, and the FFT is their stock.
Nope.
And it's
It's a
basically
Mesa
carbon.
FFT.
Huh?
You said Evoke FFT.
Did I say Evoke?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the Christensen Mesa FFT, and FFT is what they're calling their stock. It's a carbon fiber stock, and it's extremely light. Like this gun, if you take the scope off of it, it weighs like 5 pounds or maybe 6, something like that. It weighs nothing. With this scope on it, it adds some weight. This Vortex is heavy. This rail, this Night Force rail, is really heavy. But this gun is extremely light. If you're going to go backpacking for elk, or you're going to go walking through a spot and stalk and whatnot with this over your shoulder, you're going to be able to stomach this for quite some time. This has your traditional style hunting stock, the shape to it. You know, it doesn't have a whole lot of this pistol grip to it. It's got a little bit. I mean, it fits the hand really well, but that vertical pistol grip it does not have. Remington 700 action it still has. It still has the Trigger Tech trigger. The barrel is kind of a sporter style barrel. Anyway, sporter style barrel, so it has a inline. I mean, check this out. So if you screw it down, it looks like it's just a ported barrel. You can't even tell that there's a seam here, but this is a removable to a 1/2 inch by 28 threads. Anyway, so we have our oversized bolt knob. If you watched us do anything on this channel, you know we love an oversized bolt knob for just its ergonomics. Being able to lift that bolt, throw it in any weather condition. This gun is, I'm not used to shooting it light, so it's different. The trigger's good. The poundage on it is it's got minimal creep. It's got a solid back wall. We like the trigger. We're used to a Timney Elite that we have on our 6.5 Creedmoor that we built a while back. But this is a solid trigger for any hunter. The color of the gun, I like it. It's sharp. It's a sharp. My wife says it almost looks like there's roses sponged onto the stock. So it has a nice color. The green color I really like. The darkness it's kind of disappears whenever you're near some darker foliage. The burnt bronze barrel is Cerakoted, the action and the barrel. You have a fluted bolt, and so we did the Evoke, and the flutes on the actual bolt itself on this Mesa are a little bit deeper than the flutes that were on the Evoke. But both of them have that fluted barrel or fluted bolt. The back end here that has your firing pin and whatnot, the housing is a round shape, and it's fluted as well to reduce weight. Everything is to reduce weight on this gun. Everything. These little holes drilled in here to reduce weight. The fluting to reduce weight. You're also going to cool a little bit easier. But this housing is round shape, whereas on the Evoke it had like that pyramid shape that came down, whatnot. You still have your two lugs, your same extraction style. But overall, it's a solid performing gun. If you want a lightweight firearm and don't want to pay the additional $700-800 for a carbon fiber barrel, this is exactly what you want to go with. We really enjoy it. Christensen makes a great firearm. This gun particularly loves a lighter bullet out of a 308 than what we like to shoot out of a 308. But it loves these 168s. Most of your 308 hunters are going to be right in that. They're going to be happy with the 68 grain weight range. So does it perform well? Yes. Is it a good shooter? Is it fun shooting? 100%. Would this gun make anybody happy? Yes, sir, it would. I would suggest this firearm to anyone that is looking for a lightweight gun at a good price. A good price being that $1,300-$1,400 range. Okay, that's going to be in the same range as a lot of your X bolts and things of that nature. But your X bolts that have a carbon fiber stock, they're still going to, I mean, some of those are going to be like $1,800 to $2,000. Remington doesn't really have, you can do anything to a Remington, honestly, aftermarket. But this gun is almost a custom style gun for a production price. Now, if you want to take that next step and go to your carbon fiber barrel, you're going to make a big jump in price point. But this firearm, we love it. We love it. It's a great shooter. We're going to let some of these other guys that are behind the cameras shoot this guy and see what they think as well. But I enjoy shooting the firearm. Now that we know what bullets it likes, it's very accurate. And we'll look at the target here in a little bit. But all in all, Christensen Mesa FFT, solid performing firearm. Anyone who's looking for a lightweight gun at a good price point, this would be your choice. So whenever we first came over, if you look here, these are our initial 3 shots with the Hornady Blacks. And then these are our 3 shots with the ELDMs. Okay, so right here you're right at an inch, maybe a little bit less than an inch actually. And then with the blacks, this one might be in maybe me, but I mean you're right at an inch and a half right there, roughly. So then with the match bullets, that's where we kind of started to play around. So I had a 3-shot grouping here. It's not exponentially great. And then these were from Tony, and then Edgar actually put 2 in the exact same hole, but low. Now you see additional marking here. These 3 are from our 6.5 Creedmoor. These are from our 6.5 Creedmoor. These are from our 6.5 Creedmoor. We just put a new scope on it and redid the barrel, so we're just playing around with it and whatnot. Some of these are 140 grain rotors, some are 147 ELDMs or ELDX. Anyway, but with the 308, it's a solid performing gun. It's a very terminal gun. It's super light. Okay, so for us, we're not shooting out of a like lead sled or anything like that. So any little movement, that light gun wants to move around on you. So it's I think that gun would be much better in the field than it is at the range. Normally I shoot better in the field than I do at the range anyway. But for this purpose, the gun is extremely light. I'm not used to a light gun. So the Christensen Mesa, that's not the FFT, the stock is heavier. A friend of mine has that gun. It's an amazing shooting gun. I love shooting it. The FFT stock is probably a little light for me, but for most hunters who want to shed weight, who want to be able to backpack it around, who want to be able to tote it and not have to worry about it being heavy, put it in a sling or put it in a backpack and carry it, it's solid. It shoots great. It's just a very light gun. But overall, we do love the Mesa. The Mesa FFT it shoots lights out. Like, I mean, some of this is us and just being human with human error, but the gun performs well with the bullets it likes. With the 180 grain plus, they didn't group like this. But with these 168s, we're getting decent groupings. We're making solid shots. It tracked well. It moved well. The scope performed well. The gun shoots great. It just depends on what your preferences are. For me, if I had to choose between the Evoke and the Mesa FFT, I'm an Evoke all day long. Okay, that Evoke was a great shooting gun. It had good weight. It had good character to it. I loved the way it felt in my hand. I loved the way it felt while I was at rest, in a shooting position. The FFT is a solid shooter. The Mesa FFT is a solid shooter. It's just a little light for me. The Mesa, which is about a pound heavier, I would probably prefer it over the Mesa FFT personally. So if we graduate up to the Ridgeline, which is even lighter with a carbon fiber barrel, is that going to affect us? Stay tuned and find out. Remember, everything that you do, do it for God.